Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to look into the practice exam set 2 for Power BI Data Analyst Associate exam PL-300. So let's get started. So we have total 60 number of questions and duration would be 1 hour 40 minutes, and these are some instructions. So let's get started. So first question is, what authentication method can be used to connect to an Azure SQL database when configuring it as direct query source in Power BI? So in this set, I'm going to mark my answer. It is not correct all the time. I might mark the wrong answer as well, but you can mark your own answer, and at the end we will have a score and we will see which questions were wrong or which questions were correct at the end. So in this question, which authentication method to connect Azure SQL database for the direct query? So it should be OAuth, the authentication. Yeah. What do sensitivity levels allow users to do? So sensitivity levels apply content endorsements, set user permissions, indicate data confidentiality labels, configure row level security. So it should be indicate data confidentiality levels. You have a CSV file containing user complaints data. The file has lost column with the date and time each complaint occurred. In the format of date and time, you need to analyze the complaints by lost date and use a built-in date hierarchy. What should you do? Split the lost column by using add as the delimiter. Apply transformation to extract the last 11 characters of the lost column and set the new column's data type to date. Apply the parse function from date transformation to the lost column. Change the lost column's type to date. So in this one, I will see which one is converting the column to date type. So I will go for this one. What is the maximum data size when using the regular import mode of the Power BI? So it's 1 GB. Which query combine historically joins two tables based on values in a matching key column? Which query combine mode horizontally joins two tables based on matching key columns? So it should be combine mode horizontally. So horizontally means it will join columns horizontally. Yeah, vertically means rows, horizontally means columns. So joining columns, key columns, so it should be merge. Otherwise append would be joining row wise. So row wise is vertically adding. Yeah, I think this should be the correct answer. What is the default number of rows that Power Query profiles for statistics when loading data? So always in the Power Query it always loads 1000 rows. What is the maximum number of scheduled refreshes per day allowed for a Power BI Pro licensed workspace? So I think it should be 48 is for I think premium, as far as I know. So 24 or 8, maybe it's not 24, it's 8. What is the benefit of disabling load for unused power queries in the data model? Disabling load. So uh, by disabling load, I think bypassing privacy check on unused queries, allowing editing unused query, improving data refresh speed, unnecessary data load in the model. I think this should be the correct answer, avoiding unnecessary data load to the model. Next one is, you have a Microsoft Power BI report accessed from an app workspace in Power BI set capacity. The .pbix file size is 550 MB. The dataset contains one fact table containing 12 million rows and is scheduled to refresh twice daily. The report page has 15 app stores and 10 default visuals. Users report the visuals are slow to load and interact with. What should you recommend to improve report performance? So replace the default app source visual, modify DAX measure to use iterator function. Again, it will take longer time. Row, this is different. So split the visuals across multiple report pages, or replace the default with app source visuals. I'm confused about these two, but I will go with this one. It makes sense, because if you split the visuals across different report pages, then it will be quite faster compared to if you have all the reports in the same report. Okay, I'll go for this one. What is the minimum interval that can be configured for incremental refresh in Power BI? I think it should be 15 minutes or 1 hour, maybe. Or what is the minimum interval that can be configured for incremental refresh in Power BI? Incremental 1 week, 15 minutes, 1 hour, 1 day. So it could be 1 day, 1 hour, minimal interval that can be configured for incremental refresh in Power BI. I'll go for 1 day. What do italicized query names in Power BI indicate about those queries? I've never heard about this one, italicized. So I'm going to make a guess about those queries. The combined data from the multiple source, they are not currently loaded in the data model. They use query folding for better performance. They cannot be edited. Query names indicate the choice. Maybe they are not currently loaded into the model, because if it is italicized, maybe they mean something. Yeah, they cannot be edited. Maybe I'll go for this one. You have a Power BI model that imports data from Excel file. You used Power Query to load a query containing both renamed and custom columns. Later, when attempting to reload the query, you receive an error saying the column category of the table wasn't found. What are two possible causes of this error? So one could be the column was removed from the source file, and maybe because we are talking about the column only, one column, so the data type change doesn't mean it will say uh, column doesn't find, so it should be related to column was removed from the source file, the column was renamed in the source file. I think these two are the correct answers. Next is you need to combine data from two related Azure SQL database tables, order header and order details, into a single Power Query that contains the unique columns from each table. The tables are related by the order ID column. What should you use in Power Query editor to combine these tables? So first option is append queries, merge queries, and combine files. So inside the combine we have append and merge, so these two should be the answer. So let's see what's going on here. You need to combine data from two related, one order header and order details, into a single query that contains the unique columns from each table. The tables are related by the order ID column. What should you use in Power Query editor to combine the tables? So both has order ID column because they are related by order ID column. Not all the columns are same, that's why it should be merge queries. If they have all the columns same, then it should be append queries because they are related by order ID column. Next question is, what is the purpose of setting a date table in the Power BI data model? So the options are to format dates in visuals, to allow multiple date columns in the table, to enable the use of time intelligence function to improve the query performance. So purpose of setting date table in Power BI mode. Yeah, but it seems, to format the data in visuals, maybe setting a date table in the Power BI mode data model. So usually we use the date table for the time intelligence function, so I'll go for this one. I think this is the similar question that we already solved, but I think it is a little bit different. Let's go for it. You have a Microsoft Power BI report accessed from an app workspace in Power BI. Set capacity. The .pbix file size is 550 MB. The imported dataset has one fact table containing 12 million rows and is scheduled to refresh twice daily. The report page has 15 app stores and 10 default visuals. User report, the visual are slow to load and interact too. What should you recommend to improve report performance? So question is same. I think only the options are different. Enabling visual interaction, removing unused columns from dataset. I think this should be the one. Replacing default, this one. Implementing row level security. I think removing unused columns from the data model tables. Next question is, what happens to the source data when connecting to it using direct query mode in Query BI? I think it will remain same. Let's see the options. The data exported is exported to Excel. The data is loaded into separate data warehouse. The data remains in the original data source. The data is cached into the Power BI data model. So yeah, for the direct query, it will remain in the original data source. The next question is, what process involves checking that the output of the query matches the data in the original data source? So options are invoking a function, pivoting data, merging dataset, data profiling. Query matches the data in the original data source. What process involves checking that the output of the query matches the data in the original data sets. Data source, so output of the query matches the data in the original data sets. Invoking a function, data profiling is where we can see all the summarization of the data. This one is invoking a function, pivoting data, merging data set. I'm not sure about this invoking a function and data profiling, so checking the output, I'm not sure about this one. I'll just go for data profiling. What type of schema contains dimension tables related to other dimension tables? So we know about two schemas, one is star and another one is snowflake, and in this case dimension table is connected to dimension, it should be snowflake, otherwise it would be star schema if fact table is connected to dimension tables. Next question is, you have 5 reports and 2 dashboards in a workspace in Power BI. You need to grant read access to 1 dashboard and 3 reports for all users in your Azure Active Directory tenant. What should you do? So create an Azure Directory group containing all users and share the dashboard and reports with that group. It could be answer manually, share the dashboard, make the workspace public so all users can access it, publish an app containing dashboard and reports to the entire organization. You need to grant read access to 1 dashboard for all the users in so it is for all users and share the dashboard and reports in that group. Yeah, this could be answer. This could also be an answer because in the app we can keep the dashboard and everything, so I think this should be the correct answer. This one is also kind of, I'm failing. This is also correct because creating as a Active Directory group. Okay, I'll go for this one. Next question is, which user can certify Power BI dataset to mark them as trusted data source? So it should be the admin only. Yeah. So what is the maximum number of active relationship that can be configured between 2 tables in Power BI? So active relationship, we should only have 1 active relationship. You need to create a visual to compare profit across 10 categories for a selected quarter. What type of visual would best display this comparison? So this should be 10 product categories for this one. Line chart is not good one. Of course, 10 product categories. Funnel chart, area chart, these are not the suitable charts. I think it would be clustered bar chart, because in clustered bar chart we can have comparison of different quarters. Yeah, clustered bar chart. The next question is, what cardinality types should be used for relationship between a product table and the product categories table in the Power BI data model? So it should be product table and the product category table. So in the product table we have one ID, but multiple category can be here in the product. So it should be many to one. What methods can be used to set a Power BI dataset so other users can build content with it? Select all that apply. So first one is user Power BI data flow. So dataset, set an Excel data model, set through a Workspace app. So this is one solution, and share individually with user permission, because these are the Power BI services we can use. The next question is, what data types should be used in Power Query for a column that contains numeric product IDs with leading 0? So data type should be text, because if we try to keep the data set as numeric, this 0 will be gone. We will not have the leading zeros. That's why we need to have it as text. Next question is, which role or roles can always view all dataset data in a workspace regardless of row level security settings? So it should be members and above members, then contributor, and then admin. So all will have the ability to view all the data set. What feature in Power Query can be used to reshape pivot columns into rows? So it's simple, we can unpivot column. It is pretty simple. So next question is, you need to enable managers to review quarterly sales performance data in a printable format that can render data in Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and PDF. What should you create? So it's nothing but the paginated report. Next one is, you have a Power BI report with 3 pages, page 1, page 2, and page 3. All pages have the same slices. So you need to configure the report so that filters applied to the slices on page 1 apply only to page 1 and page 3, but not to page 2. What should you do? So we just need to remove this page 2. That means we don't need to sync. That means we need to sync the slicer on page 1 and page 3, because that's what it says. So next question is, what are the 2 operating modes available when configuring an on-premise data gateway? I think it's just 2. One is personal and one is standard for the on-premise gateway. So what is the file extension used in Power BI template? So for Power BI template, it's .pbit. What content is saved when you publish an app from the Power BI service? A new workspace is created and saved. Viewers automatically get build permission. All workspace content except dataset and data flow, only the content you select to include in the app. Yeah, this should be the correct answer. What does it indicate when a Power BI report, dashboard, and dataset is promoted in an organization? So it is kind of promoted. Access to the content is restricted. No, the data source has been validated as trusted, because we are talking about all of it. The content will be featured prominently on the Power BI homepage, and the content has been certified as accurate and is approved for, this one is certified or certification. The content will be featured prominently on the Power BI homepage. So promoted within I'm not sure about these two. I will go for this one. It could be certified as accurate and is promoted, approved for broad, and is approved for broad users. Okay, I'll go for this one. What is the recommended schema type to use when modeling data in Power BI? So it is usually the star schema. What is the purpose of use relationship function in DAX? So options are checking if the relationship exists between tables, returning the name of the active relationship, creating a new relationship between tables, activating an inactive relationship between tables. So this is the correct answer. Use relationship is to activate the inactive relationship. Next question is, you have a Power BI report with 4 pages that each contains slicer for the same 4 fields. User report that filter selection made in the slicers on the in one page do not carry over to the other page other pages. What are 2 recommendations to allow users to set a slicer value on one page that will filter all 4 pages? So the 4 pages that contains each slicer for 4 pages use report filters slicer in one page do not carry over to the other page. So what are 2 recommendations? So maybe the slicer are not synchronized, so that's why synchronize the slices across the 4 pages, and then replace the slicer with page level filters, because we are talking about the report level, then all pages will be filtered, I think. So replace the slicer with page level filters, create a bookmark for each slicer. So I'm going for these two. What visuals should be used in Power BI to compare the composition of different product categories across regions? So here tree map is not the correct answer. Waterfall and pie chart, these are not the suitable chart or the visual, so it should be 100% stacked bar chart. The next question is, you need to use Power BI desktop to extract manufacturing reports saved as Excel files from a SharePoint online document library. The reports have the same data structure. What should you do? The reports have the same data structure. What should you do? So we can go for the combine and load for this one. So not the list, maybe the folder, then go and combine and load, because the data structure is same. You have a Power BI report that imports data from an Azure SQL database into sales tables and a date table. The sales table contains the following date columns: due date, order date, and delivery date. You need to enable analysis of sales over time based on all 3 date columns. Which solution meet this goal? So in this one, create 3 copies of data table named due date, order date, and delivery date. Add inactive relationship between the sales table and date table to each date column. Convert the date column into sales table to date time data type. Rename the date table to due table, and create order date and order delivery date as calculated tables using DAX expression. I think this is the correct answer. because we are renaming the date table to due date, and create order date and delivery date as calculated tables using DAX. By doing this, we will connect to the sales data, because in sales data we have all the date columns. Next question is, what is the purpose of the DAX function opening balance month and closing balance month? So it is clear from the function itself. So to calculate the account balance at the start and end of the month, it is clear from the uh, name of the function itself. You have a Power BI report that shows gross sales by date. Anomaly detection is enabled on a visual. No anomalies are currently detected. To increase the likelihood that anomaly detection identifies anomalies, what should you do? So for the anomaly, increase the expected range transparency setting, increase the sensitivity setting, add a data field to secondary values field well, add a data field to the legend field well. So maybe I'm not sure about this one. I will go for this, increase the sensitivity setting. What data transformation technique in Power Query can be used to reshape tabular data by rotating column values into rows? So this is nothing but on pivoting. Yeah. What is the main benefit of setting parameters for the data source location in Power BI? So it allows changing the data source after publishing the report, should be the correct answer for the parameters one. What is the key difference in how calculated columns and calculated tables are computed in a data model? So options are: calculated tables can be used in measures, but calculated columns cannot be. Calculated columns compute values row by row, while calculated tables compute values at the entire table. So this is the answer. Calculated tables are materialized in the model, but calculated columns are not. Calculated columns support aggregation function, but calculated tables do not. So this is the correct answer. Calculated columns compute values row by row, while calculated tables compute values for the entire table. Next question is, what is the difference in the information written by user name and user principal? So options are: user principal returns a security identifier. I don't think this is going to return anything, user principal. So username can be used in calculated columns, but username returns the domain and login name, while username returns the email address. Oh yeah, I think we can do that while we are assigning roles. Yeah, username returns the domain and login name, while user principal name returns the email address. Next question is, you have a Power BI report with 5 pages. Pages 1 and 4 are visible to the user, and page 5 is hidden. You need to create a solution that user allows to quickly navigate between the visible pages, so 1 to 4. The solution should require minimal development and maintenance effort. When new pages are added, what should you do first? Add a bookmark navigation button to page 1. Create a bookmark for each visible page. Add a blank button to page 1 add a page navigation button to page 1. I think add a bookmark navigation button to page 1. You are analyzing consumer purchasing data in Power BI. You need to identify the fields that has the greatest impact on the total spend amount. Which Power BI visual should you use? So we want to see the greatest impact, so it should be key influences. Which feature in Power BI allows you to group visuals together so that they can shown or hidden as a set? So this is nothing but the selection pane, because we can combine multiple objects into single group. You have an Excel file stored on a file server that contains data you want to visualize in Power BI. You create a Power BI report and import a table from the Excel file. Then you publish the report. What should you configure first to enable scheduled refreshes of the data every 4 hours? So the options are: edit the data sources credential in Power BI, deploy an on-premise data gateway, create a subscription to the report, upload the Excel file to a Power BI workspace. So obviously we are talking about the Excel file, and we are using the on-premise data. So that's why we need to have, in order to use scheduled refreshes before going to the Power BI services, we need to have the on-premise data gateway to connect it to Power BI services. What is the difference between sum and SUMX function in DAX? SUMX handles text values while sum only handles numeric values. Sum aggregates total values while SUMX iterate row by row. Sum and SUMX are always produce the same result. Sum can be used in calculated columns, but SUMX cannot. So the answer is sum aggregates total value while SUMX iterates row by row. So the next question is, what DAX function tests if all values in the column meet the specific condition or not? So it is all satisfy. Sorry, any satisfy, not all satisfy. Maybe if all values, yeah. So all satisfy should be the correct answer. You have a report with a bar chart showing customer count by segment and a column chart showing monthly sales. When a customer segment is selected in the bar chart, you need to see the portion of total monthly sales for that segment in the column chart. How should you configure the interaction between chart? So customer segment is selected in the bar chart. You need to see the portion of total monthly sales for the segment in the column chart. No interaction is needed between the charts. Set a filter on the column chart based on the bar chart section. Set highlight on the column chart based on the bar chart selection. I think set a filter on the column chart based on the bar chart selection. The next question is, what is the purpose of designing a table as a date table in Power BI? So it should be, whenever we talk about date table, it could be for the time intelligence. Let's see, preventing duplicates date from being loaded into the model, enabling use of time intelligence. So this should be the correct answer. Let's see other options. Hiding the date table from appearing in the field list, automatically sorting the row chronologically. So yeah, this should be the correct answer. Next one is, what happens to a column in a data model when it is hidden? So options are: the column can only be accessed using DAX, the column cannot be loaded into memory, the column is removed from the data model, the columns remains in the model but is not displayed. So yeah, it's logical from the question itself. it will be not displayed. So next question is, which workspace is shown under my workspace in the Power BI service? So it is your personal workspace, where you can do a lot of things on your own. It is not promoted workspace, recommended workspace, all workspace you are a member of, so it is your personal workspace. Next one is, what is the difference between the remove rows and remove duplicates transformation in Power BI when preparing data? So option are columns included, impact on query folder, order of rows, preserved number of rows affected. So remove rows and remove duplicate transformation in the Power BI when preparing data. So remove rows means it will remove some of the rows, and remove duplicates, again removing the rows, so number of rows will be affected. What capability does the Q&A feature in Power BI provide? Enabling query data using natural language question. Yeah, this is whenever we have Q&A, it is related to natural language questions. You are developing a Power BI report that will connect to data from a project management application hosted in Microsoft Teams. The application was built using Microsoft Power Apps. Which data connector in Power BI desktop should you use? So it should be so data flows is for the transformation and preparation. This is something different, and database is also different, so it should be Dataverse to connect the Power BI to the within Power Apps. Okay, this should be Dataverse connectors. So next one is, you have a clustered bar chart in Power BI that shows employee salary data. The chart contains the salary measure as the value of the employee field as the axis. The salary field contains numerical data representing salaries in US dollars. You need to add a reference line showing the median salary across employees. Which of the following solution would add this reference line? Add a percentile line showing the 50th percentile of salary. There is no way to show median salary on this chart. Create a median line by using the salary measure. Add a constant line using the overall average salary amount. So it should be showing the 50th percentile of salary. Which storage location for an Excel file allow publishing its data to Power BI service to create reports and data set? So it could be storage location for the publish its data to Power BI service. So maybe Power BI service, so OneDrive, and then SharePoint. This is attachment, this is locally. Which storage location for an Excel file allow publishing its data to Power BI service to create reports and dataset? We can also do this locally on computer, said via OneDrive, SharePoint. I'm not sure about SharePoint. SharePoint also can use OneDrive locally on a computer. So I will select all of them. So this is the last question, and let's see when I finish this question We will see the result. Okay, I got 80% in this exam practice exam 2, and in the next video I will explore what are the incorrect answers. As you can see, there are 12 incorrect answers, and we will see why other options are not correct in the given question where answers are wrong. So this is it for this video. Thank you for watching, and see you in next video.